Cheers to the queens, let the laughter flow. With every sip of Prosecco, we steal the show. Uncork the joy, let the good times roll. Together we'll shine and reclaim our glow. From friendship to fun and healing our hearts, we toast to...
Welcome back to the Prosecco Queens Podcast. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome, and please pull up a chair. And if you've been here for a while, you already know, I love you. For anyone who might be meeting me for the first time, I'm Teresa, single mom, truth teller, professional overthinker, and proudly the forever dreamer. Because no matter how many times life humbles me, reroutes me, or says, absolutely not yet, I still believe in love, in growth, in possibility, and maybe with a little Prosecco along the way. Or as I like to say, maybe even your coffee or tea. And as a matter of fact, I've got a little sparkle with me today. I know you can't see it, but I'm sipping on some Luca Peretti Prosecco. It's smooth, crisp, and honestly the perfect way to ease into this conversation. So if you're looking for something light and celebratory, go check it out and taste it for yourself. Now, before we go anywhere else with this, I need to acknowledge something right away. The last episode I released was back at the end of April. And no, that wasn't an accident. That was intentional. Because life happened. My family was going through some things. I was going through some things. And I needed to step back, not just in the podcast, but from noise. So I could be present where I was actually needed. And I wanted to say this out loud because I think it matters. I didn't take that break because I quit. I didn't take that break because I didn't care. I took that break because sometimes pausing is just part of the process. And the truth is, I still don't have everything perfectly lined up the way I want. I still don't have every answer about where the podcast is going to take me long term, or even if it will. And I'm okay admitting that, because in its own way, that's actually kind of exciting. What I do know is that during that time, I didn't disappear. I did guest spots. I stayed connected on TikTok. I shared pieces of my real life. Not a polished version, because that wouldn't be real, but a human one. And behind the scenes, life kept moving. Slowly, quietly, sometimes painfully, and always sometimes beautifully. So this episode is about that in-between space, where life doesn't stop just because things are hard, and where blessings don't disappear just because things are heavy. And I want to say this gently. This isn't a look how strong I am moment. It's more like, this is what it actually looked like when no one was watching. See, 2025 wasn't loud. Well, in a lot of ways on the outside it was. But on the inside, it wasn't loud. It was full of moments that cracked me the hell open and moments that stitched me back together. Yes, there were hard things. There were nights where my daughter was struggling with her mental health in ways that terrified me, as well as my own. There were hospital visits that make your chest tighten just thinking about them. Moments where fear showed up uninvited and sat right next to me, sometimes on my lap. But here's the part I never want to forget. She still graduated high school. I still got to watch her walk across that stage while I cried. She still showed resilience in ways that makes me still want to cry. Not from fear of the future, but from pride. And my son, my baby, was baptized this year. Now, normally we do it as a baby, but we know that the past damn near decade has been kind of crazy. But we finally did. And we celebrated that together as a family. We stood there present, grateful, grounded. And in that moment, nothing else mattered except love and faith and the fact that we were still standing. Those moments don't erase the hard ones, but they help anchor you, hopefully. And I think that's something a lot of us forget, that even our hardest seasons are layered with things worth holding on to. There were, of course, wins this year that didn't come with applause. Again, like my daughter starting college, a whole new chapter unfolding right in front of me. Like my son being in 4th grade, growing, learning, becoming more himself every day. And I'll be honest, even though I'm not always crazy about all the gaming, and let me just say earlier today, before I recorded this, man, I wanted to take him out for being so loud so early in the morning. And I I actually confiscated that tablet quick. However, I'll be honest, watching his creativity grow through it has been incredible. I just wish it was at a decibel that I could stand. But his imagination, his love for mythology, history, science, all of it has expanded in ways I never expected. The storytelling, the problem solving, the confidence. He's been live streaming his games, learning how to talk to people, explain things, think on his feet. And he even has his own YouTube channel now. So yes, this is my shameless mom moment. Go check out at Envious Squad HQ Gaming on YouTube. That's the at symbol, ENVIOUS SQUAD HQ GAMING. That's my baby's channel. And so me watching him explore who he is creatively and confidently has been one of the quiet joys for me this year. Like our health, like waking up, like being okay, even when okay felt fragile. And this past Christmas, even though their father and I have been apart for years, this was the first Christmas that it was just the three of us since everything was finalized. So it was just us. And I'm not going to pretend that that didn't come with emotion, because it did. It did feel different, but it felt great. There were moments of sadness, moments of adjustment, moments where you feel the absence of what used to be, but there was also peace. There was laughter. There was basketball. That made me happy. There was a sense of this is our family now, and we're allowed to honor that without guilt. We've learned how to adapt, how to grieve what changed while still appreciating what is. That's growth. And sometimes it's those quiet, almost ordinary moments that remind you of who you are again. At the beginning of the year, my daughter and I went to Florida together. I might have mentioned that in another episode. We visited our grandparents, something that meant more to me than I can explain. Time doesn't wait. Actually, it's a freaking thief. And moments like that remind you how precious it is to be present. And during that same trip, Natalie and I went to Epcot. Just us. I've never been and always wanted to go. So it was our first real girls trip with her now that she's older. Walking, talking, laughing, seeing her not just as my child, but as a young woman. Those moments filled my cup in ways I didn't even know it was empty. And let me tell you something, and I'll be real honest here, and I'm sure all you teenage parents can really agree. Navigating this season has not been easy. I now have a 19-year-old living in my house, and we're learning how to straddle that line where there's real respect between us. But she's still my daughter. She's still my dependent. She's not my roommate, even though sometimes it feels like we're negotiating shared space in ways we've never had to before. I'm trying to lead her not just as her mother, but as a woman with experience, someone who's lived, loved, failed numerous times, healed, and learned the hard way, and who literally still is. I mean, come on. And that balance, it's been a ride. There have been moments where we've struggled, moments where we've bumped heads, moments where the Latina mom in me feels like I'm about to lose it and knock some teeth out around here. But I also made a promise to myself that I wouldn't raise my children the way I was raised in certain moments, that I would break the cycles that didn't serve us, that discipline wouldn't always mean fear, although I will say it does help sometimes, but that love wouldn't mean silence, and that growth would come with conversation, not control. It's not perfect. I'm not perfect. We're learning as we go, but we're learning together, and that matters to me more than getting it right every single freaking time. And that changed more than I thought it would. And when you start feeling full again, you also start seeing your relationships, all of them, with a lot more clarity. And yes, relationships were still part of the lessons this year. Dating experiences that reminded me how far I've come and how much I'm no longer willing to tolerate. Different dynamics, different people, similar lessons. And I want to spend a little time here because dating was a big part of my 2025, as I'm sure it was many of yours. Not in a dramatic, all-consuming way, but in a very real, very human way. I allowed myself to look around again, to be curious, to see what was out there. As a single mom, as a woman who's been married, divorced, broken open, rebuilt, as someone who still wants connection, not because I need it, but because I desire it. And that mattered. Because somewhere along the way, a lot of women are quietly taught that once you've been through certain things, you're supposed to dim yourself. That wanting love again is naive. That wanting passion is unrealistic. That wanting something different somehow means you're ungrateful for what you survived. I sure as hell don't believe that. And I believe that there isn't a timeline that should be strict on how long a person waits in between. With that being said, there should be a journey of healing that happens after and during meeting someone new. Because all relationships are different, and so are all people. And hopefully, in order to not repeat the same pattern, you do some work on yourself first. Here's what I do know for sure from my experiences out there. I met people who have been single for so long and actually isolated themselves and believed that was their version of healing. And it wasn't. It was avoidance. And then when you feel like things may be starting to get real, they're right back to the same pattern. But here's the difference. Now understanding the pattern where I stayed too long in hopes that someone will finally wake up and see my worth, now I know my own worth. And how to not stay in places my heart, mind, and intuition tell me aren't right. Dating in 2025 reminded me that even though things change, desire doesn't disappear. And there's nothing wrong with meeting new people, no matter what society seems to want to tell us all the time. How else are you going to know what you like? And dare I say, learn more about yourself. You can still be desirable. You can still be loving. You can still want to be wanted without abandoning yourself. And it is totally okay to crave a companionship or not to. Remember that self-love and romantic love are two very different things. And you are not crazy for wanting the latter, even if you love the shit out of yourself, as you should. Some experiences confirmed what I already knew. That emotional availability matters more than charm. That effort matters more than words. That consistency is the bare minimum, not the bonus. And some experiences were simply mirrors, and that shows me how far I've come and how much more I have to go. And keep in mind, as I say this, yes, this is in relation to dating, but this was in all relationships in all areas of my life. Professional, personal, familial, what have you. That's how you have to think of things. And it's taken me a while to get there, and I'm still a work in progress. I didn't walk away angry this time. I walked away clearer. And that's growth. I learned, again, that connection without consistency is just confusion. That wanting something to work doesn't make it healthy. That love without emotional safety will always cost you more than it gives. And with co-parenting and finalizing divorce papers, there were moments where old wounds resurfaced. Not because I was going backwards, but because closure is rarely clean. And I talk about this so much on other episodes, so go check those out if you haven't already. Healing doesn't mean you never feel it again. It means you don't let it define you anymore. So one thing that really helped me reframe my view on relationships this year was something Jennifer Lopez said in her October interview on the Howard Stern show. It went viral, so I'm sure everybody has seen it at some point. But she was asked if she's ever truly been loved. And she said something that really stayed with me. It's not that I'm not lovable. It's that they're not capable. And when at first I heard that, I thought, yes, of course, I understand that. Because there are people out there who don't yet have the emotional capacity to love someone else the way that person deserves, or even to give what they themselves would want in return, simply because they haven't done the inner work. And some may never choose to. But here's where I had to get really honest with myself. I'm not perfect, and I don't want to pretend that I've just been on the receiving end of other people's unhealed patterns. If I haven't fully done my own work and continue to do so, I can still allow certain dynamics to continue longer than they should. I can still confuse potential with reality. I can still stay because I want closure or understanding or to be heard, even when peace would have been the better choice. So for me, the lesson wasn't about blaming other people or letting myself off the hook. It was about recognizing that we can't hold people to standards we're not willing to hold ourselves to. Healing means taking responsibility for our part. Not because we're bad or broken, but because awareness is how those same situations stop repeating themselves. And if I'm being really honest with myself, a lot of my growth didn't come from changing who I dated. It came from changing how I reacted. My natural urge is not to go silent, probably hence the podcast. It's always to have the last word. It's always to try to get closure. And it's always to make sure in a way that somebody's hearing me. And that, unfortunately, has been a lot of my biggest issue. So learning that silence can be a virtue is a growth I didn't see coming. And once you stop letting the pain or the noise tell the whole story, you start noticing what's been holding you up this entire time. Through all of this, the hard, the beautiful, the exhausting, we were still so blessed. Enough to anchor me when my mind spiraled. Enough to remind me that even in survival mode, love was still present. And another blessing I don't ever want to gloss over was how much time I truly got to spend with our family this past year. And getting to be together, really together, especially since COVID, not just showing up, but having fun, laughing, being ourselves, that mattered. Those moments weren't loud or flashy. They were playing Uno and dancing and taking pictures. They were simple. They were real. And watching the younger generation see that, seeing them witness what it looks like to gather, to joke, to stay connected, to love each other through different phases of life, felt like a responsibility and a gift all at the same time. Because traditions don't carry themselves forward. People do. And being able to show them this is family, this is how we hold each other, this is how we come back to one another, it was a blessing. One I don't take lightly. And when I hold on to that, not as a fantasy, but as a grounding truth, I know I'm okay. A lot of people have been saying things feel different lately, like something heavy is finally loosening its grip. And I'll say this again. I don't mean the outside world. That's a fucking nightmare. But internally, personally. And whether you believe in this kind of thing or not, and sometimes it's hard to even imagine when you see the state of the world around us, I've learned over the years that there's often more truth in this than we'd like to admit. And as a Pisces, intuitive, emotional, deeply feeling, sometimes way to a fault, I've learned to pay attention to patterns, timing, and energy shifts, because ignoring them has never really served me. So yes, astrologically, a major cycle is coming. Well, is ending, especially for Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, and Sagittarius. Yes, starting in 23, this cycle was about heartbreak, breakdowns, betrayal, and emotional reckoning. And 2026, that's supposed to be coming to an end. But I need to be very clear about something. 2026 is not a magic year. Nothing just happens because the calendar flips. Everything you want, peace, love, stability, success, it still requires work. And I know it can feel unfair when it looks like other people get things easier, like doors open for them, like success just finds them faster. Maybe that's luck, maybe that's timing, maybe it's privilege. But here's the truth that I stand on. Our birthrights as humans are the same. We all deserve dignity, safety, love, peace. The path may look different, and the timeline may feel uneven, but you are not less worthy because your road is longer. So the real question isn't what's coming next, it's how we choose to show up for it. 2026, like every other year, isn't about shortcuts, but this one is about alignment. It's about showing up gently, consistently, honestly for the life you're building, not forcing, not proving, and sure as hell not chasing. Just choosing yourself again and again, even on the days it's hard. And if you're anything like me, sometimes it helps to slow everything down, to take a breath, and remind yourself what you're actually standing on. So here's what I'd like you to do with me. Take a deep breath. And I want you to listen to these affirmations and say them slowly along with me. Save them, play them on repeat, write them down. Take what resonates or leave what doesn't. I am willing to do the work required for the life I want. I release comparison and trust my timing. I honor both my struggle and my blessings. I trust myself to stay quiet when silence protects my peace. I am allowed to feel grateful and tired at the same time. Nothing about me is broken. Nothing about my life is wasted. Did you feel that? Did you feel that shift? Remember that. Because if 2025 taught me anything, it's this. You can struggle and still be blessed. You can grieve and still be grateful. You can be tired and still continue moving forward. And when you use that truth as your anchor, you don't need everything to be perfect to feel okay. So I want to thank you for sitting with me. Thank you for letting me be honest in this jumping off point. So here's to honoring what was hard, celebrating what was good, and walking into 2026 grounded, realistic, and hopeful. And cheers to my queens and to the kings that love and support us. We're still here, and that matters. And just so you know, this isn't the end. This is a podcast. This is a conversation. And there are more episodes coming, and we are striving for every other week, so look out for them. Some will be solo, some will be with guests. All of them will be honest, unfiltered, and rooted in real life, not perfection. So if this episode resonated with you in any way, if you felt seen, understood, or just a little less alone, please follow the podcast, share it with someone you love, and if you're able, leave a review. It might feel small, but it matters. That's how this message keeps moving forward. That's how more women find their way into this space. And as always, take what you need from this, leave what you don't, and trust that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So until next time, stay soft, stay honest, stay a little wild, and never stop dreaming. Because I'm still the forever dreamer, and so are you.
Under the sparkling lights we raise our glass, sharing laughs and stories, the moments that last. From puppy tales to vibrant dreams, in this royal space, nothing's as it seems. Cheers to the queens, let the laughter flow. With every sip of Prosecco, we steal the show. Uncork the joy, let the good times roll. Together we'll shine and reclaim our glow. From friendship to fun and healing our hearts, we toast to the journeys that shape who we are. Every tear, every smile, every leap we take, we're stronger together no matter what's at stake. Here's to the nights when the world feels small, when love surrounds and we have it all. Raise your glass, let's dance till we're free. The queens of this night, you and me. Here's to the queens, let the laughter flow. With every sip of Prosecco, we steal the show. Uncork the joy, let the good times roll. Together we'll shine and reclaim our glow. So let the bubbles rise, let the music play. We'll carry this magic beyond today.